brighten up those dark mornings. Wheeler, Ollie, and Lekter. Mornings at the cabin.
I don't think I've ever seen the weather gauge in the studio reach minus 40. It's on minus 39 today. I wonder if today might be the day.
I'm surprised it's stuck around this long. Usually it hightails it out of here after like minus 30.
Yep, it pieces out long ago, but there it is. Minus 39.0 this morning.
Wow.
And it felt like it.
Yeah.
It felt like it outside.
Yeah.
But you know, this is what makes the North a great environment in which to run a radio station's website, because boy, do you ever get Facebook shares when you post stories about how cold it's going to be, and Northerners get to share that to their friends.
You don't even have to mention Mars.
Tossed that one up there last night, 6 paragraphs, 500 shares later.
Holy!
Oh, it's like getting the old weather-related story fishing rod out of the back of the truck, putting the bait on it, flipping it out there. All the Facebook.
It's always one of two reactions to it. Either people are like, oh, right? Yeah, I got to show all my friends and family back for wherever I'm from how cold it is and how tough I am. And then the other reaction is, why is this a surprise? Haven't you lived up here long enough? Why is this news?
My favorite is in the comments beneath last night's story. There's someone who says, I'm just here for all those people who are going to turn up and be like, well, it was always like this in the 80s. Directly beneath which there is someone who has commented, it was always like this in the 80s. I'm like, great, excellent.
There was more snow.
This comment section is so meta now. Everybody knows what's coming. Then it arrives. Everybody enjoys it. There's Julian Morse saying, but wind chill's not a thing. Right in there.
Right
yes. On cue.
Yep.
You gotta love it.
Mornings at the cabin. The podcast.
It is extraordinarily cold outside. As we were saying in the introduction to the show, we posted about this last night on Facebook. It helps to warn people, just remind people to check the weather forecast. I was being yelled at all yesterday by people saying, oh, did you not know this was coming? No, I didn't. I was doing other things. I don't spend my entirety of my existence looking at the long-range weather forecast. I happened to see yesterday extreme cold warning. I thought, so other people might like to know. So, yes, we did mention, we touched on Julian Morse.
Yes.
The great denier of wind chill. Of all the things.
There could be worse things to be a denier of.
You know what? Of all the denial.
Grand scheme.
There's a spectrum. And at one end of that spectrum is some pretty bad stuff to deny.
Yep.
And at the other end of that spectrum is wind chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
It's a very inoffensive hill to die on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he says he feels seen in our comment section because the Facebook post explaining about the extreme cold warning was shared by me with the introductory sentence, I know you guys don't believe in wind chill, but when it says minus 60 with wind chill, that really sounds like a thing.
Right. And when
it does.
Environmental experts, across the world agree that wind chill is a thing.
To the point where the federal government issues extreme cold warnings based on it. Yeah.
It must be a hoax.
Yeah. I mean, between Yellowknife City Council, you've got Julian Morse and his anti-wind chill views. You've got Steve Payne with his anti-goodness knows only what views. There are some cards on that council, I'm telling you. Anyway, minus 60 with wind chill coming up. Now, I've seen some minus 50 someths with wind chill in my time. Yeah. I don't know that I've ever been in a minus 60 with wind chill situation. And maybe I have. I have.
I remember what would have been my first winter and possibly your first winter here as well. There was it was big news when it was minus 50 without the wind chill.
Yep.
And you had that nice ice fog, just hanging over the city. Just making things look.
Oh, it looks pretty.
Oh, it looked very pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to touch it or interact with it, but
I want to interact with it. I shall not interact with the outdoors.
But it looked great.
Looks great. Yeah. Through this window, looks great. The nadir of this extreme cold period is going to be Saturday night, by the way, minus 45 without the wind. Right now in Yellowknife, it's minus 52 with the wind, minus 39, as we were saying, without. The extreme cold warning for today says, wind chill of minus 50 to minus 60 will continue all of today and persist through the weekend. And it's not just Yellowknife, by the way. It is virtually the entirety of the Northwest Territories.
Oof.
So if you look on the Environment Canada website, it highlights in red. Yeah, they make a big deal out of their extreme cold warnings.
Yeah.
They just splotch red all over the map as though,
Bold font.
Yeah, as though aliens have bled all over the Northwest Territories. and the whole of Great Slave Lake is just etched in red. And then all the way up the Mackenzie is just, someone has just taken one of those paint wheels, like one of the rollers, and just gone vroom, all the way up the Mackenzie.
Shouldn't it be like a bright blue? Like red implies hot.
Yeah, red implies hot. This is exactly not what is happening.
No.
And there are splotches everywhere else. Basically, the only places not affected by this, Fort Smith, Fort Liard, Nahanni Butte, Samba Cay, Polituck, Ulahakduk, and Sax Harbor. You're like, how did those three dodge this?
Well done.
Yeah. How did Ulahakduk get out of this one? The blizzard capital of the Northwest Territories. It's like, we're good. We've done cold.
I came in this morning, and Sibs was in the studio on the couch putting together the morning newscast, and I said to her as I was taking off my jacket, I was like, is it a bit warmer in here today, or is it just me like suddenly acclimatizing to an indoor environment after coming in from minus 35? And she's like, no, it's just you. It's you acclimatizing. Like, oh, okay, good. And then she said, what do you do with your dogs in this kind of weather?
Cook them. It's the only thing you can do. It gives you heat and sustenance.
They appreciate it at this temperature. I was just like, no, we just, we'll probably take them for like a very quick walk today. Tomorrow, we're just not going to go outside, and Jaya's going to be the only one upset about that. But you know what? Finnegan doesn't want to go for a walk. We don't want to go for a walk. That's 3 against 1. It's a very democratic household with regards to our dogs.
Finnegan, I mean, say what you want about Finnegan. When you need to count on him in an emergency situation to not want a walk,
you can count on his vote.
He's right there.
Yeah.
Finny.
He knows how to play ball.
Don't let us down, Finny. It's really freaking cold outside, Finn. We need your vote here.
Can be bribed with snacks.
He comes through. We could all be bribed with snacks, especially this weekend, because it is, of course, the Super Bowl. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. This is Mornings at the Cabin. Your news with Sarah Slightly Chilly Negative Sibley is next.
Mornings at the Cabin, the podcast, where we cut out all the great music and you're left with the rest.
Ollie in for Wheeler at about like half an hour's notice. Not bitter at all about that. Mornings at the Cabin. Apparently he told all of you yesterday. Didn't tell me. Wasn't listening.
Yeah, everyone else in the city knew.
The first one I haven't listened to in weeks, and all of a sudden there's like important production information in it.
That's why you can't miss a show.
Great. I did notice the title of the podcast was something like, Ollie, where art thou? That's all I know about yesterday's show. I also had one message from my mother that was like, oh, they're saying some quite unkind things. And so between the two clues, that's all I need to know about yesterday's show.
Oh, they weren't unkind. We were just making up rumors as to why you had no-showed the morning show in the last couple of days.
What do you mean no-showed it? Nobody invited me on.
Invited? You're in the intro. You don't need an invite.
Oh, right.
The intro. Your invitation is 7 a.m.
I suppose when you put it that way. On Tim and Sid, Tim never turns up and says, like, can I come in on this?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, all right.
Said, you know what? Not today, Tim. Yeah, we're good.
All right, well, fine. Well, I'm here now, aren't I?
You are here.
What do you want?
Yes.
Super Bowl this weekend. Speaking of things I probably won't be anywhere near.
You're not going to watch the Super Bowl?
Well, I mean, I just don't care. But
that's fair. I mean, most people don't.
I don't know. I had to ask Sibs yesterday which teams were in it.
Did she know?
Yeah, I think she'd just spoken to you about it.
Oh, okay.
So I now know it's the Tampa Bay, and I'm going to roll the dice Buccaneers.
Nice one.
Okay, and the Kansas City inappropriate racist name.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And like Tom Brady.
Like not the worst racist name, but like, on the spectrum of racist names. Back to the whole spectrum thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not appropriate, but.
Not great.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Kansas City, not great. Okay. So Tom Brady, who just like whoever has him goes to the Super Bowl, right? He went to Tampa Bay.
Generally, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Are they going to win?
No.
They're not. What with Tom Brady?
Nah. They're playing the defending.
The not greats are better than the Buccaneers.
And the not greats are the defending Super Bowl champions.
Oh, I definitely didn't know that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they beat.
How can someone from Kansas City get to the Super Bowl twice?
Well, none of them are actually from Kansas City.
I suppose.
Yeah.
This is of all the places.
Huh. Well, what else is there to do in Kansas?
When you put it like that, I suppose. Yeah.
They're probably all really good at football, actually.
Yeah. Nothing but plains and as if I know what Kansas is. Kansas City even in Kansas?
No, I don't think it is, actually. Good point.
I love the United States.
Yeah.
Where's Kansas City? Kansas City.
It's Kansas adjacent.
It's in Missouri.
Yes, right. I didn't know that until last year around Super Bowl time, as I recall.
I mean, what's the point? What's the point of that?
Oh, I'm sure there was a war involved.
It's like Quebec City being in New Brunswick.
Yeah. If you need, though, this brings up an interesting point. You like having, no interest in the Super Bowl.
I just don't know anything.
Putting the pieces together.
Yeah.
It's actually, I was talking to Nicole about this the other day, and I was like, you know what? I'm actually really looking forward to the Super Bowl because there's some really good storylines going in.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, hit me.
So if you need some good story to build it up for yourself.
Definitely do.
So, of course, you mentioned Tom Brady.
Yes.
Quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
57 now, and he's still rolling. Old, God bless him.
Still spry. Yeah. That's one of the prop bets, actually, is what will be mentioned first, his age or the number of Super Bowl appearances.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because they'll be in the same sentence.
They'll be in the same
sentence.
I can hear
the sentence structure in my head right now.
Oh, absolutely.
They're going to come in on age. I'm going age first.
You're going age first?
Yeah.
Okay. I think you're with Jesse on that one. But anyway, so, 57-year-old Tom Brady playing in his, I think it's his 10th Super Bowl appearance. It's his opportunity to possibly win his 7th Super Bowl, which is pretty impressive.
That's not bad.
I don't know. I don't think there's a quarterback who's won more than that. I think he might already be in the lead with Super Bowl wins. But nevertheless, he's going for his 7th Super Bowl, but his first without being a member of the New England Patriots. So it is 57-year-old Tom Brady's opportunity to basically say, hey, I got this great resume. These 6 Super Bowl wins previously. But those were all with the same team, which actually had the same head coach, Bill Belichick, there the whole time. So it was always kind of like in the conversation of, is Tom Brady the greatest quarterback in NFL history?
Okay, this is great. I'm able to translate this into my head now. Is David Seaman actually a good goalkeeper for England? Good.
Yes.
I've got this because he played for Arsenal at a time when Arsenal had a really good defense.
Yes.
So you're like, is he a great goalkeeper? Or is he in actual fact just a guy with a funny last name who is playing behind a bunch of really good players?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So basically, is Tom Brady actually any good, or is he just in a really good team and it makes him look good?
Exactly.
Okay, all right, I can play this game.
That's always been kind of the argument. A lot of people are just like, no, he's the greatest of all time. Shut up.
I mean, he's in another Super Bowl now, so he seems to be winning this argument.
So this is the thing. If he can win this Super Bowl as not a part of the New England Patriots juggernaut, which, by the way, just want to throw out there that in the first season in the last 20 years where Tom Brady was not their starting quarterback, they missed the playoffs. So that maybe speaks for itself. But nevertheless, if he can win as a member of a brand new team, I don't know if there's any question anymore. He probably goes down as the greatest, unquestioned quarterback of all time at that point.
Yep, okay.
On the other hand of the coin.
Ooh.
Side of the coin. You've got...
It's fine. You're the Super Bowl expert, not the coin expert.
You've got the Kansas City Chiefs from Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Led by Patrick Mahomes, last year's Super Bowl MVP, and pretty widely thought of as the best quarterback in the world today. They are trying to win their 2nd Super Bowl in a row, as last year they defeated the San Francisco 49ers in the final big event before COVID ruined everything in our lives. I don't think now. I was trying to do a little bit of research. I'm sure a top fan, Melanson, knows what the answer is off the top of his head. But the last time that there was a back-to-back Super Bowl champion, I believe, was the New England Patriots, and I think that would have been 2003, 2004. So it's been quite a while since there has actually been a team that has been able to win consecutive Super Bowl championships.
A dynasty.
That might be maybe pushing it a bit far.
A dynasty, Scott.
Now, if you can win 3 in a row,
ooh,
that's
at least a family tree, isn't it?
That's at least
a family tree.
Yes,
That's
yes.
the order that we go in?
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. You're past sapling.
2 in a row is sapling. 3 is family tree.
Branching out.
4 is dynasty.
Yes. Orchard.
Okay, Orchard 5 dynasty. Okay, great. Why don't they have that? That'd be so much more fun if you're like, they're going for a sapling this year. Yeah. This is Tom Brady's shot at an orchard.
Yeah, trees are pretty powerful. That's some good good symbolism.
I love that. I am absolutely adopting that. I am gonna. Yeah. Cabin Radio's almost been on the air for a tree.
Yeah,
and we're shooting for an orchard next year.
That's right.
Yeah.
So there you go.
We are going to have the boreal forest by the time the CRTC gets its act together.
So there you go. Some pretty interesting storylines going into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, okay.
And, you get to see how it all plays out.
All right. I mean, I'm still going to just watch Manchester City v Liverpool on Sunday morning and then fall asleep. But I like the fact that you tried. And you know what? Sure, I'll go. There's going to be snacks, right?
There's going to be snacks.
There will be snacks.
The Mornings at the Cabin podcast was recorded before a sort of live, thankfully not in the studio, audience.
Mornings at the Cabin, just gone 8 o'clock on your Friday morning. Nearly said your Saturday morning, which would make no sense. We're never in here on a Saturday morning. Why would we be broadcasting? Something would have had to gone wrong. K-Mac would be standing outside the studio. He would be mad.
He would not allow it.
No.
And fair enough.
Way back with K-Mac, 8 till 12, Saturday mornings, don't miss it. We will never intrude upon it. Promise, K-Mac.
He's got a great show. He doesn't need us trampling all over it.
Sure, he certainly doesn't. Yeah, that show. A lot of love poured into that show. This show, I just like, I've got to do a show. And then I just stagger into Studio One. I'm like, all right, I'm hangry. It's been a long week. Let's read out some stories about terrible dates.
We'll get some brekkie in a bit. Don't worry.
Yeah, well, we're going to get a lot of brekkie out of that Wheeler chap. I'm just saying. If ever he was on for a brekkie penalty, this is the one. Right. So, as you will be aware, if you've been listening to the show for a little while, we have been doing some terrible date stories because we've got this wonderful prize package to give away for Valentine's Day. It involves dinner for two at Bullock's Bistro. It involves a great little prize pack from Great Slave Gifts, and it involves a bouquet of flowers from Flowers North. All of that wrapped up into this wonderful package, and to win, all you got to do is submit to us your terrible date story, a date that was so bad, the story at least is good. And you know what, Lekter? I feel like we've had more entries this year than we had last year.
Strong entries, too.
And strong entries.
Like
now,
that Walmart campout story that won last year, that would be almost like middle of the pack this year.
Mm-hmm. There have been some crazy stories.
Yeah.
And I wonder what that says. Now, does that say that there's various reasons scientifically that it's different this year, that we're getting more worse stories?
Right.
Is that because in the past year, like, our quality of dating life has dipped significantly here in the North? Is it because in the past year, our quality of listener has dipped significantly here at Cabin Radio? And now we've just got all the trashy listeners who've had the terrible dating experiences with the other trashy people. Who knows, right? Like, what is happening to our dating stories? But here we are. We got a bunch of people who have endured a lot, Lekter.
Yeah.
They have endured a lot.
We have, several candidates that it's kind of a shame that we only have one prize to give away because they deserve something for these experiences other than just having like a good story in their back pocket.
Oh, totally. And listen, if you're listening to this, I'm not suggesting you're trashy. Obviously, it's the other listeners, not you.
No, it's the person you're talking about in your story.
Yeah, they're trashy.
They're trashy.
They're trashy.
Yeah,
they're trash. Ugh. Hardly listen to other radio stations. Shall we? Should we get on with it?
Let's get on with it.
Hit me with some music.
Hello, ladies.
Okay. First story of the day comes from Nicole, and she sets it off on the right foot by saying, "Buckle up. This date I had in 2019 was the worst date I've had and will probably will have ever had in my lifetime, at least. While going to school in Toronto," that's already off to a bad start, "I've always downloaded dating apps right around midterm and final season. Don't ask why, all right? And delete it once I've finished my exams. Every time I would match with the same really cute guy, we'll call him Mike. And he would always welcome me back when I would download it again. And in 2019, I finally agreed to go on a date with him. Already there was a lot of pent-up excitement and expectations as we'd basically known each other for about 4 years. He had a master's degree in business economics from a good school, so I thought we'd have at least some class. Wrong. He sees me for the first time, proceeds to force a small makeout, and says, Wow, at least you do look like your pictures. So rare for women online.
Klaxon's sounding already.
We then go into the nice restaurant he chose. He had said that the owners and staff are like his actual family, and he goes there all the time. But when the waiters come around, Mike tries to act super buddy-buddy with them, and the servers snub him as if they didn't know him.
Oh.
Mike then becomes extremely rude with the rest of them, for the rest of dinner rather, and makes an effort to tell me that he wouldn't be tipping. Throughout the dinner, all he talked about was himself, his accomplishments, his goals, how rich and important his friends are. The only thing he really asked me was to see if I would be into some sexual fantasies he has. Anyways, being a political sci major, I love talking about current global events, political theory, etc. And I find out the guy comes from a conservative family. Okay, not the worst. But he talks about how Trudeau getting elected was the worst thing to happen, as all of the insert racist stuff here. Being Indigenous, this was beyond offensive, and I didn't really know what to do. So I tell him I'm actually Métis. He said it was okay, since our kids would insert some more racist stuff here. At this point, I try to cut the dinner short, and we leave. Walking home, we come across a homeless man who asks to take my doggy bag of food. I'm about to give it to him. Mike shoots me a quick, dirty look, and he compliments me saying how beautiful I was, etc. Mike then becomes super aggressive to the homeless guy and tries to get physical with him. Like literally trying to kick and punch this homeless dude sitting on the sidewalk. It was super scary.
This is a date.
This is a date. It was super scary, and I screamed at him. He storms off, grabbing my hand, and makes some dirty, derogatory comment about the homeless. Big surprise. I tell him I'm actually meeting my friend for a girls' night and need to call an Uber. To top it off, he tries to get in with me and asks if I want drugs from him to bring to the party.
I feel like this raunchy sex is just so very misplaced.
I block him on everything after that. Super scarring. Worst date ever. Anyway, thanks for the read. Hopefully I can find better guys in Yellowknife.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say I think you probably can.
Better than Mike, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, that saxophone. Woo! That saxophone was right. That saxophone, I felt like it went up an octave in panic every couple of minutes in that story.
It was feeling stressed out.
Yeah.
Should we hit it again?
You know what? I don't know if I can deal with that saxophone twice in one morning.
Oh, come on.
Oh, go on then. Here it is. It's back. All right. It's my go. This is from Tanya. I'm going to have to edit this as I go through it. If you hear me say beep, that means that there was a word that I can't say out loud on morning radio. And yeah, we got a lot of editing to do here. I was new to Tinder, says Tanya. I'd matched a tall, good-looking guy. I was in Yellowknife for the hockey tournament. I went to Walmart to meet my cousin to pick up a package for his daughter. I was hungover from wahooing the night before.
Wahooing?
Not a phrase I've used for that before, but I like that. I was wahooing the night before.
I'm adopting that.
Yep. The Tinder date asked where I was and if we could meet right now, capital letters. I said, okay, I'm at McDonald's in the Walmart. He sits across from me and stares at me. I'm thinking, oh, God, this is it. I look like beep because I'm super hungover. The date has flopped. Then he says, can I kiss you? I say, right here at McDonald's? No. So he says, how about in one of the aisles?
The dog food aisle's just right over there.
Tanya says, I'm thinking kissing by the cream of mushroom soup cans is not too romantic. So I decline. We leave, but keep in touch. I'm impressed that you kept in touch,
Yeah,
Tanya.
what a
Even at
sweetheart.
that point, if you want to just kiss in the aisles of Walmart, I come back to town, she says, and ask if he wants to go shopping with me. You initiated this. As I have to hit up Staples, Walmart, etc. I borrow my cousin's car. He compliments me, fawns over me, gives me shopping advice, laughs when I go to buy blank CDs to record music. Well, yeah, I mean...
That wasn't part of his shopping advice.
I'd love to. So at 5 o'clock on a busy Saturday in Yellowknife, I go to the Shell gas station to gas up. I'm standing outside the car gassing up, and he saunters over and whispers in my ear, there's some bushes back there. You want to beep in the bushes?
Oh, my God.
What? I declined, shocked. Then announce I will be taking him home. On the way home, he says, I have a storage shed back here. You want to boop in my storage shed?
Well, it's an upgrade from the bushes.
Just visions of a bloody bandsaw enter my
God.
head, says Tanya.
Yeah.
And I say, look, there's not going to be any boop today. I'm dropping you off. Goodbye. I mean, I'm a big girl. I probably could have took him. but I opted not to put myself in a precarious situation. Honestly, if you're ever on a Tinder date and you find yourself thinking, could I take him?
Yeah. Abort.
That's the time, right? That's when the saxophone starts to step up an octave. We continue to stay in touch, says Tanya. Oh, I guess he had a girlfriend all along who was secretly on Tinder, hence the bizarre propositions. They have since split up. I just moved to Yellowknife 2 days ago, says Tanya, and as soon as he finds out, he suggests we shack up, as they say in the Delta. Hey. That offer was also declined. On the plus side, he still thinks I'm foxy, and I survived to swipe right once more. Tanya, I enjoy that your enthusiasm is unabashed. Good for you. Brutal.
Stop encouraging this guy, Tanya.
Stop encouraging him. Oh, my goodness. That guy, don't go shopping. Don't go shopping with him.
Asterisk.
The saxophone, listen to it.
Asterisk beside that story. If Tanya does end up being the winner, she's not allowed to take that guy to Bullocks.
No.
All right, Tanya,
we know what's
I think that's fair.
We know what's going to happen.
We know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
All right. We got one more story here, so
Hello, ladies.
this one's a quick one from Aaron. It was a blind date. I borrowed 2 kayaks from a friend. We went to the Yellowknife River. He had a certificate in canoeing. What could go wrong? We had just been in the water for about 10 minutes, just up from the bridge. And I looked around and he was splashing and panicking. He had flipped, but his foot was caught.
Uh-oh.
So he was just trying to stay upright. I came over and got him upright and focused. I went back to get the truck to meet him over at the dock on the other side. That he ended up, well, I should have pre-read
Yeah,
this.
you're butchering this one, buddy.
I went
Poor
back
Aaron.
to get the truck to meet him over at the dock on the other shore. He ended up getting a lift from a motorboat back to the dock. Quite a date to remember. We didn't date after that. Felt bad for the lad.
Yeah, so he basically just was fundamentally inadequate at kayaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why
I-
go kayaking on the first date?
Yeah, he would have figured it out. I don't know if you gave him enough time, Aaron.
Yeah. I don't know.
Let him struggle for a bit.
Yeah, if
Figure it out.
we're assessing people on their first date based on kayaking aptitude, then a bachelor's life awaits for me. All right, let's put that saxophone to bed because there's only so much you can strangle a cat at 8 o'clock in the morning. And thank you, everybody, for submitting your... Don't look offended on behalf of the saxophone.
No. I'm offended on... No. I wasn't saying to keep playing. You know what? I'm just going to stop that right now.
Okay.
No, just, man, the stories just continue.
I'm glad we ended on the kayaking one.
That was...
It's almost pleasant.
Yeah, like by comparison, sorry, Aaron, not to count you out or anything, but by comparison to those first 2 stories.
It was not terrible. Not terrible at all. Keep the stories coming in. If you were listening to those and thought to yourself, well, I can beat that. A, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. B, send it in. Mailbox at cabinradio.ca. Messages on Facebook. Messages on Instagram. Cabin Radio on both of those. Let us know. There is still, just about a week to get your entries in before we pick a winner. By Thursday next week, I think we're going to go for something like that.
Yeah.
So you got plenty of time. Get those entries in. You are listening to Mornings at the Cabin.
The Mornings at the Cabin podcast.
Big old news day yesterday. Big old news day. That's why I had the fancy clothes on.
You were looking quite dapper.
You have to dress up for the news.
Apparently.
Yeah.
What was going on yesterday?
Budget day.
Budget day, right.
Budget.
Yes.
So they lock up all the journalists. The right-wing establishment is thrilled. They lock up all the journalists in a room with 500-page documents, big binders, full of all the budget info. And we get the whole morning to ask senior officials anything we like to try and figure out what on earth is going on.
Okay.
Then you get an hour to interview the minister and talk about what's happening. And then you've got like an hour to write as much as you can. Basically, it's like an exam. And then you publish at 1:30. So that was why I was a little...
it's so regimented.
A little occupied yesterday. It's quite regimented.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but it is quite tough because they spend months prepping this budget.
Yeah.
And then, you have a morning to look through all the documents and try to figure out how things are changing, what's shifting, what the big deals are.
They can't give you like the nights beforehand to cram a little bit?
Apparently not.
No.
I mean, they give you their own highlights and stuff, but there's always that part of you as a journalist that's like, yeah, you think this is the highlight.
Right.
To take an example from yesterday, the territorial government provides its massive binder, but then provides a little document with like, here are all like the big things in this budget.
The Coles notes.
Yeah. Nowhere in the Coles notes was the fact that our royalties from mining had dropped to $0 from an expected $36 million.
Oh.
Right. That was not in. That, to me, that's a highlight.
Yeah.
I mean, low light, maybe, but it's sort of probably something I would pick out and
Something
say,
that should stand out. Yeah.
that's a thing.
Yeah.
Was not in the highlights document.
Okay.
Maybe understand why the territorial government is not necessarily, keen to crow from the rooftops about that. But at the same time, quite important to note that the territorial government's latest forecasts are for there to be not a cent earned from mining royalties in 2020-21.
Yeah.
So, like, that's quite important. And then you go through stuff like there's about 300 jobs added in this budget. But then it gets complicated because a lot of them are the COVID secretariat.
And then it gets complicated.
Right? So you got 290-something jobs added, but more than half of those, significantly more than half, are to do with the pandemic.
Right.
And so they're not theoretically full-time, indeterminate jobs forever kind of jobs. They're for the secretariat until such times we don't need a secretariat anymore.
Right.
Like, okay. But then I asked a senior official about this, and I said, well, look, are these jobs going to go away again? And she said, well, if they're still there next year, that would be something for the reporters to be asking about.
Okay.
I thought, well, that's an interesting answer. That wasn't just like, oh, yeah, they'll go away again. That sounded more like a sort of, well, we keep telling the politicians these jobs are going to have to go again, and you should probably like stay on that because, boy, are they ever slippery eels.
Right.
And I enjoy chatting to the senior officials sometimes because you get a very distinct sense that they're a little put upon. They're just like, here's the latest. Politicians come and go. We're still here trying to keep the ship going.
Right.
There's two schools of thought, right? You either believe that the politicians are the ones who are the idiots, and thank goodness we've got the senior officials to keep the ship going.
Yeah.
Or you've got the school of thought that the senior officials are the idiots, and thank goodness we've got the politicians to send in to try to get them to change their minds and do things differently.
Can't we just not have idiots in government?
Well, I mean, I think that's an aspiration.
Okay.
I think that was in the budget
sure if
somewhere.
That was like a rule.
No, I think it's in the budget that we're launching a 4-year plan to see if we can identify a way to have government that doesn't include idiots.
$190 million.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
Sadly, though, it was signed off by idiots, which means that there's very little faith that can be had in it, Lekter. We jest. Of course, everybody in the NWT government is wise and beautiful and well endowed. So, it's very reassuring. What?
Very well endowed.
Financially.
Yeah, okay. Yes.
Financially.
Yes, naturally.
Endowments coming out of the... Anyway. Yeah. One other thing I did want to briefly touch on yesterday from the news. Dominion Diamond Mine sold the Ekati mine. That is done. The deal is done. Ekati is now sold.
Okay.
To a company with a great name. And I think it's going to really excite everyone who works at Ekati.
Diamonds Are Us?
No, now I'm just sad for Toys R Us. Why would you do that to me?
I don't know. It sounded exciting.
No, the mine has been sold to a company entitled the Arctic Canadian Diamond Company. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, that's not exciting.
I should have said Aurora.
The initials of the Arctic Canadian Diamond Company are...
A.
Yeah.
C.
Yeah.
D.
Yeah.
C.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Everyone at the Caddy now works for AC/DC.
Wow. Well, that's cool.
Isn't that exciting? I was thunderstruck when I saw that.
Very nice.
Etc., etc.
They're going to have us back in the black in no time.
Hey, it writes itself. There's going to be a news story on that today. I am going to get bored this evening, and this evening's equivalent of the weather story from last night is going to be, Ekati workers thunderstruck to discover they work for AC/DC.
All right, let me know if you need help with that.
I realize we're in your wheelhouse now. So congratulations if you work at Ekati, and the fact that your new employers at AC/DC. Really looking forward to Rush taking over diving. Gacho Quay gets into difficulty. See if Hawksley Workman wants to invest.
Thanks for listening. Check out more from the show at cabinradio.ca and by following the Mornings at the Cabin Facebook page.